Let's go. Bring it up, baby. Let's go. Daddy, on me. Daddy, on me. 1, 2, 3, go.
What is good, YouTube, man? How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic Thursday. Listen, you guys, hey man, it's just about officially come to an end with quarterback Derek Carr. So after 3 weeks to a month's time, he's finally broke the silence and he's had some words to say, man. So we're going to talk about this because it is interesting. I would like to kind of break it down just a little bit. And also, there is even more news that came out today. I believe it was per Adam Schefter on a possible trade and what's going to happen. So before we kick off and get into that, man, shout out to everybody who's already in here. We got Futaro in the building, Unknown Raider, Derek Campbell, the guy, the man, the myth himself. Kenny's in the building, Teen Raider. Fresh Prince says, was good, Andy, Julio, Coolio Jones in the building. Teen Raiders in the building. Shout out to the 40 people already in here. Hit the like button for me if you have not already. Shout out to Sean. We got Fock in the building. Was good. We got OG Fade in here as well. But Rock Nasty says, what's up, Andy? Was good. Bearded Goon was good with everybody in here. Ian Stack Raider was good. Listen, man, by this time, it's been a few hours now that he's released this statement, Derek Carr has. I'm wondering how many of you guys have been able to take a look at the statement that was released by Derek Carr. It wasn't too long. It was like four mini paragraphs there. But he had some words for the Raider Nation. Most of it was thanking us, right? But one that is very, very interesting. Shout out to Darnell and Real Carr in the building. Shout out to you guys. Something that I found very, very interesting with the statement that Derek Carr released today, right? He came back, and I'm sure that he realized that he was getting a lot of backlash within the Raider Nation because of his previous statements that he's made to the media saying that it's the Raiders or it's no one. It's the Raiders or I want to spend my time playing golf. It's basically here or nowhere else, right? And we've heard Derek Carr say that multiple times, right? And it's very, very interesting, right? Because today he did in his statement say that is how he felt, but he also felt like it wouldn't have ended up this way. He said that he never thought it was going to end this way. Therefore, he still has that hunger. He still has that fire to go out and win a championship, right? So therefore, he does want to continue playing football, and he's excited to see the new chapter with the new team. So Derek Carr, he wants to play football. He wanted to go ahead and say that, you know what? Yes, I did say that it was either the Raiders or nobody else. He did say that. He did say that earlier on, but then he backed on his word and he said, well, you know what? Since I didn't think it was going to end like this, I'm going to back up on my word and said that since I didn't think it was going to end like this, I want to move forward with someone else in a new chapter, right? My thing is that there's two things, right? There's two things that I really want to talk about. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. He feels like the Raiders maybe shouldn't have done this or whatever. My biggest things is here's what I don't like, right? I would have liked him to address, and I understand maybe in a final statement he won't address it, and honestly he doesn't have to. But as a Raider fan, truly, I would have loved to hear him say, and maybe we'll get this further on down the line someday with Derek Carr once his career is over. But here's what I want to say. I would have loved to hear Derek Carr's reasoning on why he decided to step away from the team and not be there for his teammates and not be there as a leader, and instead just go home and be with his family, right? Because All these guys are on this roster. They all backed him when he was the starting quarterback. And as soon as he's not the starting quarterback, it seems childish to kind of say, you know what? I'm going to be a distraction for the team. Meanwhile, we have nothing to play for when he got benched. And go out and not support his guys, right? And not be there for his guys on the sideline, and not help Jarrett Stidham out, and not help Chase Garbers out in the off chance that Jarrett Stidham would have got hurt. I would have loved for him to address his reasoning and his thought process on why he decided to step away from the team instead of being with his guys that were there with him, some for years, some for just the season. But I would have loved for him to speak on that, right? Now, like I said, he does not have to. He does not have to. He doesn't have to address that. But what is off to me is that it was reported that he asked to leave. He wanted to go. He didn't want to be there anymore because he said, you know what? If I'm not the starter, I'm not going to be here, right? And I think that there's so much with being a quarterback, and yeah, it's not in your contract to be this leader and you have to be there rooting for your guys. It doesn't say that, but truthfully, I think that's just unprofessional and it kind of sucks, right? An organization gave you 9 years. These guys, some of these guys gave you a little bit like, multiple years. And Jarrett Stidham, right? Can I ask you guys something? Do we not think that Jarrett Stidham helped Derek Carr learn the offense a little bit quicker? Do we not think that Jarrett Stidham, wasn't a piece of some of Derek Carr's success this year? Jarrett Stidham came in knowing the offense, and he came in understanding that Derek Carr was the number one. So he was there, and he said, you know what? I'm going to play my role, and I'm going to help these guys learn, develop, and put the best foot forward on the field. And I kind of feel like Derek Carr just didn't want that. And I think that was very weird. I don't like that. I don't like that. It rubbed me the wrong way, if I'm being honest with you guys. Another thing, Adam Schefter earlier said today that if the Raiders want to trade him, we have to get going on finding out and figuring out what the market is for Derek Carr now. And the reason why is because, as I explained on my video yesterday, where I explained why I think that the Derek Carr trade situation is very, very tricky, something that's interesting is that it looks like the Raiders asked Derek Carr to push that deadline back in order for them to be more comfortable with a trade. And Derek Carr said no. So here, for those of you guys who did not watch my video yesterday, I'll kind of explain a little bit of that now. But first, I want to get into some comments in here that we've got in the chat. Derek says, "I love you, DC, but we have some games to win." Yeah, I love DC. I just think the time, time ran its course, man. Today might as well be a Raider Nation holiday. What the fuck is up, man? Derek and David can now can now come up with their next master plan from their parents' basement under a blanket. shout out to Connecticut. He says, "That's what happens when you feel slighted. You want to prove them wrong." Absolutely, I agree, but I think that it's just extremely unprofessional, man. It's like leaving your team just because you were benched. That's bad. That is bad. What's up, Andy? Shout out to my guy EJ. He says, Andy, I would like a real draft now. No more Mayock and Gruden guesses. Always take the best prospect on the list. No more surprises. That'd be interesting if we just went in to the draft and just getting best player available. I wish him the best, but it's time to move on. Absolutely, Team Raider. I honestly feel like he wasn't allowed back in, just my opinion. I mean, if that's the case, Derek Carr can sue the Raiders for a ton of money because that's not allowed from the Raiders. So if that's the case and Derek Carr really wants to get back at the Raiders, he should sue them. He should sue them. So that's why I don't think that was the deal. DC requested, they granted his request. That's all it is. That's as simple as that. But DC was in his contract, in their terms, in everything that they agreed upon. You can't say you're not allowed to step foot into this facility. If so, Derek Carr should sue the shit out the team. But that's why I don't think that happened, Julio. That's why I don't think that happened. He gave up. He gave up like the people he cried about on TV. To be honest, well, I just really didn't like that. Right, I really didn't like that. Right, you get benched for the final two games of the season. You get benched for the final two games of the season. And honestly, you guys, I'm really glad that he dropped this statement just so we can get a lot of this done and dusted and we can move forward and hopefully only talk about DC once the day comes that he's either traded or cut. But here's what I have to say, right? I really did not like that Derek Carr goes out and throws three interceptions in Pittsburgh when the season's on the line, when you still have something to fight for. You absolutely shit the bed there, right? And then when you find out that, okay, after having 14 interceptions, leading the league in picks, you get benched, which shouldn't come as a surprise because you now have nothing to play for. You then decide, I'm not going to try and be supportive to the backup quarterback that was supportive to me when he came in. So I just don't like that. To me, that doesn't show true leadership. To me, that shows immaturity. Like that shows it's like, oh, well, if I'm not playing, well, I don't care. Let me go home. You don't think a lot of players want to do that? You signed a contract. You signed a contract, man. I think that's very, very unprofessional. And simply I think that's a slap to the face to a guy like Stidham, to a guy like Garbers, that you would rather isolate yourself from the team than go out and try and help them. And your excuse is that you're gonna be a distraction. A distraction from what exactly? You're getting benched once the team has nothing to play for, nothing to play for, right? So it's very interesting on that, man. It is a tough situation to wrap your head around. Um, but back to what I was saying. Adam Schefter today, he said on air, or whatever fucking thing that he goes on, he said on air that it seems like the Raiders have tried to ask Derek Carr if he's willing to push the February 15th date back in order for them to have more time with Derek Carr and another team to try and get a trade before his money gets guaranteed. And he simply said no. That's understandable, right? He wants his money by a certain day because that's what the contract says and he wants to follow the contract. So I understand that 100%. I am not saying that Derek Carr should give the Raiders any favors or McDaniels any favors or Ziegler any favors. I'm not surprised by that at all. I think that that's the interesting part. It's a business, right? Derek Carr felt his side of it. Now he's giving the Raiders their side of it. But somebody who's been saying how much loyalty and how much love he has for an organization, it's interesting how much one thing can turn so emotional and now one party is just not willing to help another. So I would love to see how this all turns out at the end of the day, but there's so many different things you're supposed to, in my opinion, you're really supposed to stay with your team. You're really supposed to stay with your team, which is why I took, even though it was a preseason game, I felt like it was a bad thing for McDaniels and Ziegler to grant Darren Waller earlier on in preseason to go away from your team to go do something personal, right? That unless it's something, with your family, but I think that kind of set a wrong standard, saying that kind of guys can leave once they feel like it, right? So we'll see what happens, man. A fire no man can extinguish, meaning Mark Bullcut Davis nor McAss can dictate when his career will end. That's good. I'm happy that he's decided that he wants to continue playing football. I'm excited for that. I would love to see what Derek Carr can do elsewhere, but taking the emotions out of this, right? Let's take the emotions out of this. What can you expect? What can you expect a new regime to do? A new regime is under major pressure. A new regime just gave you a new contract. A new regime is expected to perform and add upon a roster that recently had just made the playoffs, right? So, what can you expect when a quarterback's play is the worst in his career besides his rookie season? What can you expect from when the quarterback is leading the league in interceptions? What can you expect when the quarterback's what's it called, play calling, or when he checks at the line, it's not as active as it was once before? What can we expect, right? Are we surprised that the benching happened? No, like if you take the emotion out of it, you can't be you can't be surprised about the decision. Like what's wrong with what happened? We had nothing to play for. We had nothing to play for. So why is it a surprise that our backup quarterback was being evaluated? It happens. It happens. Samurai, at the time when Derek Carr got benched, he led the league in interceptions. At the time that DC was benched, he led the league in interceptions. And that night or that next game, Dak then tied him. But when he was benched, Derek Carr was the league leader in picks. Like, it's kind of tough, man. Like, think about this, you guys. In the last 2 seasons, Derek Carr has thrown for 47 touchdowns and 27 picks. Or 48 touchdowns and 27 picks. That's not good. Like, that's not good. Like, why are we so surprised about this? But I want to go back. Yes, it is insane that a quarterback can have 15 picks in 12 games. I don't know what's happening to Dak. That's not a good look at all. That's not a good look, but I'm not a Cowboys fan, so I could care fucking less about what goes on over there. Can't blame coaches for picks? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, picks are player execution. A coach won't say, let's go out and let's throw at the best corner in the game. No, it's not going to happen. Let's be honest with ourselves. But and he led the league in pick sixes. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even know that, Kenny. Shout out to Kenny for letting me know. I didn't know that he led the league in pick sixes. But here, I wanna show you guys this just for if there's any of you guys that have not seen his what is it called? For those of you guys who have not seen his statement, I do want to share it here with you guys for you to see. Let's see. Let's see right here. Let's see. All right, so here it is. I'll try and read it for you. It says, Raider Nation, it breaks my heart I didn't get an opportunity to say goodbye in person. We certainly have been on a roller coaster in our 9 years together. From the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful and appreciative of the 9 years of support you gave to me, to my family, and me. We had our share of both heartbreaking moments and thrilling game-winning drives, and it always felt like you were right there next to me. It's especially hard to say goodbye because I can only say that I gave you everything I had every single day in season and in the off season. It certainly wasn't perfect, but I hope that I was able to leave you with more than a few great memories as Raider fans. Then he also followed with this. Um, Thank you to the city of Oakland for taking us in. Thank you to the city of Las Vegas for allowing us to proudly call you home. Thank you to the organization, my teammates, all my coaches, staff, and everyone that helped me these last 9 years in those two buildings. Thank you to all of Raider Nation that supported, encouraged, pushed, and uplifted me at different times along this journey. Raider Nation truly is special. Right here, this is where I like to, this is in his final segment is really where I like to break down, right? He says, I once said, if I'm not a Raider, I'd rather be at home. And I meant that. But I never envisioned it ending this way. So he's kind of just saying, well, guess what? Since it didn't end the way that I wanted to, I'm gonna go back on my word. That burning fire inside of me of wanting to win a championship still rages, a fire no man can extinguish, only God. So I look forward to a new city and a new team, no matter the circumstance. Will get everything I have. Winning a championship is what I've always wanted and what I will continue to work towards. God bless you and love. DC4. Good statement, right? That's fine. My only thing is that I don't understand, right? He's basically kind of fucking shitting on himself here in my position, in my opinion. He said that I once said that I would rather be at home or not be a Raider, right? You're literally saying that because it didn't end the way that you wanted, you're going to go back on your word. And that's fine. That is fine, right? But then my other thing is that shout out to Adam Schefter when it's shown on air that the Raiders have at least tried. The Raiders have at least tried to ask him, hey man, the deadline for your guaranteed money is very, very close to the Super Bowl. Therefore, there's not enough time. Is there a way that we could push that back? No, we're not pushing it back. So here's my thing. Right? It's going to be hard for terms to be agreed upon. And I don't think that helps Derek Carr, right? Because I feel like then Derek Carr is going to have 3 days because then those 3 days are really when motion starts happening. All the chatter can happen starting now. If we want to call teams, whatever, off the record and do all of that, cool. But all the true work happens in 3 days. He may push himself into a decision he doesn't want. So we'll see what happens ultimately. Like I said, I have very, very different feelings about this. I don't want to shit on Derek Carr because I don't think there needs to be. I think he's got enough of that in his career. But here's what I will say. I don't like the fact that people are acting as if the Raiders owed him something. I don't like the fact as if people are saying that the benching shouldn't have happened. Listen, time ran its course. His last 2 seasons, they were not good. They were not good at all. You have 28 interceptions to 47 touchdowns in the last 2 years. That is not good. You have 8,300 yards. Fine. You want to average 4150 your whole career? Go for it. That's fine. But ultimately, when there's nothing to play for, the season is over. Why are we acting? Why are we acting as if though this was some wrongdoing by the Raiders? And why is it such an emotional thing for him to have to stay away from the team or else he's going to be a distraction? That's not okay. That's not okay. To me, that doesn't show leadership. To me, that doesn't show leadership. I don't know if some of you guys may disagree with that. I didn't like it. Shout out to my guy Antonio. He says, I feel like the way it was handled was unfortunate. Sending him home and having him be away from the team made it a bigger distraction, in my opinion. But here's the problem, Antonio. Here's the problem. He was the one that asked to go home. He asked. The team did not tell him to do that. He requested that. They granted his request. The Raiders, as an organization, as a franchise, as a team, as a business, whatever, are not allowed under NFL rules to kick him out of the freaking facility, the building, whatever. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to. As I said earlier, if that was the case and they said don't come back, Derek Carr can sue the shit out of the Raiders, and he'll probably win. But my thing is, he asked, they granted the request. He said that it was going to be a distraction. All instead of supporting his brothers on the sideline. That, to me, is not a leader. It's not a leader. And it really sucks that all this is unraveling. It really does. It really does. People can try and say that, Derek Carr is great, Derek Carr is bad. That, to me, that's not the important part. It's like, to me, it's just like, damn, bro, like, because you didn't get it your way, you're deciding to kind of just pout. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't. He stated in his final statement, he once said that if he's not a Raider, he'd rather be at home, but he didn't envision it ending this way. Therefore, he's going to go back on his word because it wasn't the way that he wanted it to end. He's going to finish it in another way, which is fine. Continue your career. But you just look like a hypocrite. You don't look like a leader. You don't look like a leader. And honestly, like I said, man, I think the person who look, if I was Stidham and I come in and I back Derek Carr's play for 15 weeks, I help him get involved in the offense more. I help him understand the offense more. And you are there in the room in every quarterback meeting with Derek Carr, learning off of each other, giving each other tips, giving each other knowledge. And then the one time that you get benched because you had a shitty game and you lost us our season, You're not there to support the other guys. That is fucked up. That's messed up. That is messed up. And I don't like that. Damn, I didn't know it was Carr that requested that. Yes, like I said, as a team, under the NFL rules, we are not allowed to tell someone or kick someone out of the facility under contract. On top of that, the contract was given to him in less than a year ago. We gave him a contract less than a year ago for $125 or $120 million. $100 man. It was less than a year ago. It was less than a year ago. I really don't like the Raiders are giving Derek Carr some wrongdoing, this, that, and the third. I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I don't. I think that the Raiders have treated him very fairly. I don't think that any other team would have invested $200+ million on Derek Carr. I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I don't. If that's messed up to say, I don't think it is. But I just don't think that the Raiders did anything wrong by Derek Carr at all. Instead, they came in and they went full support on Derek Carr. A new regime does not have to do that. A new regime can say, "Oh, this quarterback that I didn't pick is not under contract. Why would I extend him?" And that happens all the time. That happens all the time. Instead, this regime not only gave him a new contract, they gave Hunter Renfrow a new contract, which he asked them to do. They traded for Devontae Adams, which he asked them to do. Granted, that helps both sides regardless. All this money was invested on the offense for him to succeed. He didn't. Oh, well. Oh, well. Time ran its course. It's done. The next time we talk about him is when we find out what compensation we get for him or what we don't get for him if he just gets outright cut. So we'll see. There is a lot of teams that could possibly go out and trade for him. I would like to kind of transition into that really quick. Let's see.
Jackpot, baby!
Raiders says, "Wish I could have said bye in person, laughing my ass off." Yeah, I don't know. I also think that that's really irritating, right? It's like, okay, you can say your farewell on Twitter, on Instagram, but you can have your family go out there and bash the Raiders for losing 2 games, putting up pictures in Chiefs fans with Niners gear. You're fine with your brother going on national media, national television, talking about how he's so happy, all this kind of stuff. But I wish I could have said bye in person. Shut the fuck up. Like, you sound condescending, dude. Like, come on. Let's be real.
Jackpot, baby!
Shout out to AJ. Says, "We kept him for 9 years. Brett had plenty of support." Here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. I'm going to be honest. For the first 8 years of Derek Carr's career, 8 years, I was the one saying, no, don't get rid of Carr. He's the guy. Build around him. I was the one saying this. I have videos on this channel. I have a whole video dedicated to why Derek Carr was the quarterback of the future for the Las Vegas Raiders. I was calling him a franchise QB. But guess what? In your 9th season, when you have 70% of the cap space invested on the offense, and you have games where you can't cross the 50-yard line, you have games on the line where you throw 3 interceptions, you have games on the line where you score 13 points, 16 points, 20 points. It's not enough. It's not enough. The offense was built for it to be a high-powered offense. The offense was built to win us games. If you go into a shootout in Kansas City, I'm not expecting you to win those games because we don't have the fucking defense for it, right? But at the end of the day, in the 9th season, as much as I love Derek Carr, you sit back and you look at what's in front of you. You look at what's the facts. The facts is you gave him his best bud. You gave him a fucking league leader in rushing yards with over 2,000 yards of fucking production this year and like 30 13 touchdowns with Josh Jacobs. You got him fucking Darren Waller a new deal. You got fucking Hunter Renfrow a new deal. What else do you fucking want? You have a fucking left tackle making a contract worth like $60 million, right? So why are we having games where we can't cross the fucking midfield mark and scoring 0 points? Can't even get fucking field goal range for Daniel Carlson. That's unacceptable, regardless who the quarterback is. And guess what? It was DC, man. It was DC. It was DC, right? This year, it was DC. Like I said, for the first 8 years, no, don't get rid of him. Build around him. We built around the offense for the offense to win games. We didn't win the games that we needed to. We did not win the games that we needed to. The amount of money in this offense needed to be averaging fucking 30 points. We didn't. We did not. That's all it is at the end of the day, man. All it is. All it is. Motherfuckers act like dude won us a Super Bowl. Dude, he has one career playoff touchdown. Anything else needs to be said? No. Okay, let me read this to you, right? And let me tell you if this is an offense that should have 75% of the cap space. 19 points, 23 points, 22 points. All of those were losses. 32 points, and we won. 29 points. We lost by 1 point in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Not bad. Expected to lose that. Texans, 38 points, and we win. The offense holds up the end of the bargain. We're winning those games. 0 points against the Saints. We fucking lost. Interesting. Fucking 20 points against the Jags. We lost. Interesting. 20 points against the Colts. Lost. Interesting. 22 points against the Broncos. We won. It was the fucking Broncos. 40 points against Seattle. We won. 27 points against the Chargers. We won. Why? The offense is holding their end of the bargain in all these fucking games. Against the Rams, 16 points. We lost. Against the Patriots, 30 points. We won thanks to Chandler Jones. 10 points against the Steelers. We lost. 34 points with a backup quarterback. And at that point, it doesn't matter, right? Because that's not Derek Carr. But do you not see a fucking theme there, bro? Is there not a theme there? The offense clearly didn't hold up their end of the deal. Clearly, man. It's clear as fucking day, man. We have that shit is like 10 points, 16 points, 0 points, 20 points, 19 points. What kind of shit is that? What kind of shit is that? How do you explain that? Because let me tell you this, and it was well said by fucking by Jarrett Stidham when he lost after he put up 34 points against the number one defense. You know what Jarrett Stidham said after he put up 34 points against the number one defense? He said, yes, it's my fault. I'm the only one that touches the ball on every single offensive play. I should have did more. That's what Jarrett Stidham says after he puts up 34 points on the number one defense. Meanwhile, after putting up 0 points, 16 points, 10 points, 19 points, 20 points, Derek Carr, what he has for us as fans, he says, I'm going to go home and I'm not going to support my team in the final last 2 games. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Absolutely. The defense kept us in so many games. There's only so many times that you can tell a defense that has, and no offense, because I like a lot of these guys, has Sam Webb, he's a UDFA, he's too young. Amik Robertson, you guys know how I feel. Lucas Masterson with all the injuries. There's only so many times that you can say, hey, go out there, win me a game. You can't do that. The defense is going to break. But instead, if you have an offense that's commanded by a fucking quarterback that understands, let's do anything we can to win games. I don't understand. Is $40 million worth 0 points against the Saints? Is $40 million worth 19 points against the Chargers? Is $40 million worth 20 points against the Colts? Is $40 million worth 10 points against the Steelers? Is $40 million worth 16 points against the Rams? No, it's not. That's why we moved on, you guys. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. At the end of the day, we moved on. We moved on. That's it. Bro, I used to like your channel based on the love for DC, but come on, man, this is whack. Giving stats, and if you just entered the chat, Epic, I'm pretty sure you just entered the chat today because I literally started off before I went on this looking at his fucking numbers this year. Before I looked at these numbers, I said, and I have it on the channel to prove it. I have videos saying that Derek Carr is the franchise guy. We did nothing wrong to him. We did nothing wrong to him. Time ran its course. It's time to move on. The return on investment wasn't there. This is a business, so they moved on. I don't know why people are trying to make it seem like the Raiders did him wrong. We didn't do anything wrong to him. I like the man. I hope he goes to the Colts or the Jets, whatever, and he succeeds. I want that for him. But here with the Raiders, it has not worked in 9 years. So why should we hold him hostage? It's not going to work. Let him go out and do it somewhere else. If he's got it, he's going to prove us wrong and he's going to go do it somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with what I'm saying. I'm not shitting on the man. I'm just simply asking you guys a question. Is 0 points against the Saints worth $40 million? Is 16 points against the Rams worth $40 million? No. Is 19 points against the Chargers worth $40 million? No, it's not. It's not. That's simple. It's simple. It's simple. I'm asking simple questions and I get returned with, because you don't love DC, I don't like this. Listen to yourselves, man. It just, come on. It's just common sense. Common sense, man. If you pay somebody $20, you expect $20 worth of work, and in return they give you fucking 3 cents. You're not gonna fucking hire that guy again, and you're gonna want to get him the fuck out of here as soon as possible. It's simple. If you have a business, you're paying somebody, and you go out there and each month you get a statement saying that this one guy is the number one guy in mistakes in your business. He's the number one guy that's losing you money because of all these fucking fix-ups that you have to do off of his mistakes. You're paying him at a high rate, and he's giving you low-quality fucking work. You're not going to keep him. You're not going to keep him. It's that simple. We don't have to go out and act like Derek Carr was this fucking amazing quarterback this year. We don't. We don't. We don't. Because simply he wasn't. So why are we surprised that we moved on? Why are we surprised that we moved on? Charles Woodson said it best. You got a new regime. You got to fucking you got to show off to the new regime while you're here. He didn't do that. He did not do that. It's simple. It's simple, bro. It's simple. Andy, do you prefer Brady or a rookie? I prefer, look, as of right now, if we as a team, as a fan base, if our front office believes that we have a roster that is ready to make the investments to win, you go out and you get Brady and you wait. And then you wait until the next season to try and invest in a quarterback. If you don't think that this is a winning roster, you don't give Brady $30 million. Right? Right? So that's the tough part. And I said that earlier when we were nearing the trade deadline, right? Someone asked me about a Deron Payne trade. I said, well, if the front office thinks that this is a winning team, you make that trade. Because if this is a Super Bowl contender, you make that trade. But if our front office doesn't think that, you don't make it. And our front office didn't make the trade. So where we stand right now, I believe that we have enough pieces to build around either one. Now, one of them is the luck of the draw. He either falls to you in the draft, and the other one, you could throw enough money at him and he'll come, right? But I think that our offense is built. Our offense is built good, way more than good enough for us to have a successful offense under the right player. Simple as that. Shout out to my guy Lux, man. He says, since 2014, what has Carr improved at? It's the same player. Simple. I think that that's a simple question, Lux, and nobody's going to answer that. Because since 2014, I've vividly seen regressions from Derek Carr. His play has regressed. Prince, I agree. Brady's making 15 mil, not 30 mil. He may make 15 mil against the cap, but with incentives, with guarantees, he's gonna make close to around 30. But his cap hit for this season will probably be around 15 mil. But he's gonna make more than that, if you get what I'm saying. Like on paper, it's gonna look like he made 15. The same way that this year it looks like Devontae only made 7, when realistically he made around like 20 plus, 25 plus. So on paper, it's gonna look less than what it actually is, but he's gonna make more than 15 easily. You got to look at the fact that we paid Waller and Renfrow to sit on an IR. That was a real waste. Well, here's my thing. Lack of production due to injury and lack of production due to bad play, to me, is two completely different things. If you're injured, well, that comes with the game of football. But if you're out there, you're healthy, you're playing, and you're not producing, that's a problem. But yes, paying Waller, paying Renfrow, keep in mind, both contracts were done to benefit Derek Carr. Yes, it did feel like a waste. But I guarantee you next year, when Renfrow has another season to be within this offense, Waller has another season to be within this offense, you'll see a much better return on investment on those guys, for sure. For sure. Miami doesn't have much of a running game. They wouldn't do a damn thing with 4. Do you mean with like Derek Carr? I don't think that Derek Carr goes to Miami. That doesn't really fit. Doesn't really fit, in my opinion. We got to put everything around Brady to win, though. Here's the thing, OG. We've got everything around Brady on offense. We've got everything. Saying that we bring Jacobs back, we have everything we need on offense for Brady to succeed. Which then leaves us with, okay, if all you have to do is franchise tag Jacobs for a year and then fucking invest all the rest of your free agent money on defense plus your entire draft, I think that'll be just fine for Brady to win games. At least win more than fucking 6, I'll tell you that much. Still not 100% confident in Josh McDaniels, but we've got to give him at least another draft class to build this team. Yes, for sure. For sure. The Patriots are still paying against the cap for Tom. Wow, I did not know that. Interesting. Everything. What about our offensive line? I think our offensive line. Here's the thing. I'm on the fence with Jermaine Illuminor. I understand that Jermaine Illuminor has essentially, statistically, he's played very well and he's played at an extremely high level. But here's my thing with Illuminor. It's a little bit confusing to me how a player that's been in this system for multiple years can have so many mental errors and so many penalties, which is something that Illuminor he struggled with this year. Now, another thing to look on that is that this is also Jermaine Illuminor's first time starting an entire season. So if you look at his pure play, Jermaine Illuminor had a good season. Only 28 pressures allowed, only 3 sacks. Statistically, that is very good. That is a very good season. For an offensive lineman, great. Especially for the offensive lineman that Illuminor had to, or the defensive lineman that Illuminor played against. But what really decreases his value, in my opinion, is the penalty flags. And here's my thing. Here's my thing. I think that Brady and Derek Carr, they do completely different things within the pocket. Um, I don't really like DC's pocket presence. I think he's very antsy, kind of got happy feet, and he didn't extend plays. Now with Tom Brady, he extends it different. You're not going to see Tom Brady break the pocket and run. That's not what Brady does. But what Brady does very well is he extend plays within the pocket. He has great pocket presence. He's able to move side to side very well, keep his eyes downfield without getting put under so much pressure. He also climbs the pocket extremely well, and I think that those are assets that DC does lack as a quarterback. If I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like DC kind of lacks. Feeling pressure and understanding when it's coming, all kinds of stuff that I think that Brady, we understand, is a lot better than that. All a lot better in those categories, right? So, they to me, they're just completely different players, right? You could say that the play style is somewhat similar, right? Because neither one extend plays running wise, but Brady definitely extend plays within the pocket, climbing the pocket, having a sense for the pressure, being able to move side to side in the pocket and not keep his eyes downfield and not get and not get put under so much pressure where he makes a mistake, which we know statistically Derek Carr is pretty bad under pressure when the pocket is collapsing, and we know that Brady always ranks amongst the top 10 or at least the top half. So we'll see. I agree, Pushing. I think we should give Brady a year and get Levis or Richardson to sit behind him. I may not agree on the two names that you added, but I think that having Brady for at least a season makes a ton of sense. And here's what I'll say, because we have over 200 people in here. My thoughts on Brady is this, right? My thoughts with him is that I don't care that I don't like him as a person. I don't care that I don't like him as a for what he did to the Raiders with the Tuck rule, right? I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Brady, but the hate that I have for Brady is not even close to equal the love that I have for the Raiders and the love that I have for winning. So if Brady could come here and equate to wins, I will love it. I will want Brady here, right? So I think that bringing Brady in makes a ton of sense. The Raiders have a running back that just won the league rushing title. Therefore, we have an elite rushing attack. We have an elite receiver. We have an elite tight end. We have a top slot receiver. So therefore, he can come in and have a lot of success with this offense, right? He had one of the worst ranked offensive lines in the league over there in Tampa Bay. Statistically, ours was in the top half. I believe ours was 15th or 14th. So there's a lot that Brady could do here. I do think that you need to have a guy underneath him that can be a mentor. So we'll see. We'll see. So you're selling out Lowell. He's a solid option. What do you mean? What do you mean? Selling out in what way? How is it selling out that I want my favorite team to win games? How is that selling out? What am I what am I selling out? What is it that I'm selling? Like what? What is that? What does that mean? Like what does that mean? Nation members, hit the like button. Shout out to my guy Kenny, man. Mac Jones, hell no. Why does the QB have to be black? What conversations are you having in here? Oh, Raider Reese says he wants a black quarterback. He wants CJ Stroud. I wouldn't mind CJ Stroud. I think it's going to be really hard for I think it's going to be really hard for CJ Stroud to fall to our position. But I do think that it'd also be very hard for us to pass up on CJ Stroud if he was still available on 7. But I also think that it'll be very hard for us to not listen to other teams' trade requests if CJ is there at 7. And I believe Carolina sits at 9. So I would love to hear what we would be able to get. So CJ Stroud learning under Brady would be perfect. I agree. Be More Ravens says Tuck rule stopped y'all from a Super Bowl, but you're willing to forget to win. No, absolutely not. I'm not willing to forget. I'm willing to understand that for one, let me tell you this. I don't like Brady. Like I just said. What I'm willing to do is put our differences aside if it benefits the both of us. And then once Brady's done with the Raiders, if he does come, fuck him. It's fucking Tuck rule, right? But my thing is that as Raider fans, we need wins. We want wins. It's not like we're willing to forget. I will not forget, but I will forgive. I will not forget, but I will forgive. Let me put it like that. I will forgive. And I will only forgive if we get something in return. And that return is not just Brady. That return is fucking the Super Bowl. Shout out to Omar. He says, bro, we had more years of nothing without DC, not even playoffs, and that's before Hubert and Mahomes. I said to draft a QB to groom behind DC. Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, here's my thing, right? If you look at the quarterbacks that DC's had as backups, the only viable one has been Marcus Mariota. I mean, the dude's had fucking Nathan Peterman as his backups. He's had Connor Cook, Matt McGloin as his backups. When we had Derek Carr, we were very comfortable with him. Therefore, we never felt the need, to go out and really have somebody underneath there because we didn't think that for a long time we were going to have a quarterback problem. And we didn't. We had 9 years with him, right? But here's the thing. With Derek Carr, rarely ever missed a game, always was healthy, and was at least average, right? So therefore, we kept him, right? We had no need to groom him. And also, we had bad holes on every other spot of the fucking team that we had to invest it elsewhere, right? So it was kind of tough, man. Kind of tough to look at it that way. I just said Tommy Boy was a solid option. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure he is. Didn't call that rule. He did his job as we would have. Facts. Let's see. The new coach ruins the Raiders. We'll see. We'll see, man. I don't know. Reese just stopped talking already. What happened with Reese? Where's Reese at? I can't find him. Let's see. Get Nick Foles. I would love to see Nick Foles as a backup. Selling out, Andy. I guess they don't know our Raiders history and what Al Davis would have done. Yeah, Al Davis, John Madden, neither of them would have gave Derek Carr 9 years, if I'm going to be honest with you. White QB can only throw. Black QBs can throw and run. Fucking Reese, dude. You're fucking hilarious. I mean, Josh Allen is kind of proving you wrong, man. Joe Burrow's kind of proving you wrong, man. Those dudes can kind of do it all too, bro. But yeah, I think that the race of the QB doesn't really matter as long as we can fucking win games with them, dude. Great content. Appreciate you, my brother. Top 5 offense is a must, but we need an elite defense, the next Legion of Boom, Chief Killers. So here's the problem, right? Here's the problem with that 808 Raider. We invested the amount of money to have that top 5 offense this year, but we didn't get that return on the investment. We clearly did not invest the money for the defense, and obviously we didn't get that return on investment. But that's the problem, right? We invested on one side, not the other, and the outcome was still shitty on both sides, right? So that's what's really fucked up about the situation, because we did everything this year for him and this offense to succeed and be high powered, and it sucked. That was the problem, man. That was the problem. Mahomes is half white. Mexican QBs will be the next must-have watch. Andy, how long of a contract does Chandler Jones have? He got to go. So Chandler Jones has this upcoming season that we're going to play, and then the following, and then he's done. Raider Reaper says the dumbest organization in sports. No idea, but we've done some pretty dumb shit, man. If you believe he was the one who decided to leave the team, then I have a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. Like I said, Jay Rivers, I'm not sure if you're just tuning in, but if you believe the team was the one that told him to get the fuck out and not come back. And if you also believe that his fucking agent, that hint hint, gets 4 to 10% of every deal he gets, wouldn't want to sue the shit out of the Raiders as he should, because he could if that were the case, and he would win. Maybe you might want to buy that own fucking bridge in Brooklyn that you're offering me, bro. Like, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. It goes both fucking ways. But yeah, Latino QB, fucking, it's gonna be a long time before we get a fucking prospect over 6'2", bro. Like we got some ways to go, man. I would love to see a Mexican QB, man, but we average about like 5'8", man. It's tough out here. It's tough. It's tough out here. How is not going to the Super Bowl your main goal? That's exactly the main goal. It's why you go out and you get the one that has the most Super Bowls. Simple. Y'all keep blaming the QB, but y'all have a trash coach. I wouldn't necessarily say that you're wrong there. I will say this, Brandon, is that in the beginning of the season, I felt like Derek Carr was playing particularly well with what he was offered, right? So I think that Derek Carr in the first four games, so for like the month of football, right? I actually did feel like it was a bit of both. I felt like the play calling lacked, and I felt like Derek Carr lacked as well. But here's why I would only mildly agree with you on that, Brandon, is for the simple fact that as the season got on, you could clearly see one side making mistakes when the play call had like potential to succeed. And we just saw that trend a lot. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the 6-time Super Bowl winning coach is bad. And at the end of the day, I would like to put more of the onus on the quarterback that's been here for 9 years. So we'll see. Yo, Andy, what do you think happens with the defensive coordinator coming back? I actually like it, man. Regardless of what happened this season, I think that stability is going to be massive, and I think that not going out and firing somebody and letting them fucking sit down and truly give a game plan and invest is going to be the best thing for this team. I don't think that having another fucking defensive coordinator come in and him possibly changing the scheme again and all this kind of stuff, I don't think that's smart. I think that we need stability right now, especially in the time we're going through a time where we're not going to have a quarterback that we've had for a long time. So there's going to be some question marks that we haven't had in 9 years. So I don't think that we need to go out and put another one out there, if you kind of get what I'm saying. I think that the defense did enough at times for us to win games, which is all you can ask of when fucking 80 or 75% of the fucking money is invested on the offense. So I think that with Patrick Graham's resume, if we look at his resume, I think that we kind of need to calm down on both sides, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I think that we need to try and find some stability, man. Brady will be more of the head coach than McDaniels. If it equates to wins 808, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Dope content, by the way. Appreciate you, bro. Let's see. Yeah, not gonna lie, I want Joey Porter Jr. in the first. So I actually wanted to talk about this, Prince, and I don't know if this is the live to do it, but I may do it either later today or something, man. Let me know if you guys want rankings on certain positions in the draft, because I know I've done video or lives breaking down certain prospects that I like or talking about certain prospects, but Joey Porter Jr., Cam Smith, Christian Gonzalez, all these guys, right, are high-touted DBs in this draft. And I have my thoughts and I have my reservations on these guys. So I would love to talk about that, but I also would love to talk about that with other people on the panel as well, right? Because I do like talking about certain things and bouncing off of each other's ideas, and all that kind of stuff. Emmanuel Forbes, that's somebody that my brother Graf is extremely high on. and I have a reservated opinion on those guys. But Joey Porter Jr. For me, if I have to summarize it a little bit, right? I think that Joey Porter Jr. directly he how do I say it? If you want a young corner, he directly translates to what Patrick Graham is gonna want. Patrick Graham, his goal, his main focus in the offseason was I want a guy that we could put in press man. And that's exact. Joey Porter Jr. may have the most press man film in this draft class. So I think that he may be the number one corner on Patrick Graham's draft board. In my opinion, he's not my number one corner. Joey Porter Jr. in the first, for me, I think that he loses a lot on inside releases. I think that he's handsy once the ball, once a receiver gets on breaks. Once receivers either do deep ins, deep outs, posts, I think that that's when he starts to get handsy. And that's when we start to see big time pass interference calls. So I don't think that those are major issues. I think that those can be changed. And I do like Joey Porter Jr. I do like his film. I do think he has got amazing ball skills. I think that he's also very good on breaking onto routes. He's also a very good, pro size, right? 6'2", he's 201, 204, something like that. He's got pro size. But my thing is that with him, like I said, I think that Joey Porter Jr., and you could look at his film against Purdue, he lost a lot of times on inside releases. He lost quite a bit on in-breaking routes. So maybe for Joey Porter Jr., the problem may just be opening up his hips, right? That may just be something for him that he may want to work on, or it could be a patience thing, right? Maybe he's just too eager to try and break on the ball. So those are all things that could be worked on. Although I said all those things about Joey Porter Jr., he may not be my favorite corner in this draft, but I also wouldn't be disappointed if the Raiders got him because I think he's got a lot of potential. Sauce is the same in what way? That he loses on in-breaking routes? Yeah, that's true, but I've also seen Joey Porter Jr. get beat by Purdue receivers for like a 40-yard touchdown, and Sauce doesn't have that on his film, whether it's in college or in the NFL. So we'll see. We'll see. Move Hobbs to safety doesn't really make sense. I would like to see Hobbs back in the slot, though. That's what I think makes sense. Draft the common sense player. Oh, gets grabby? Yes, but here's the thing, Prince. I think that certain organizations around the league are allowed to have players like that, right? I think that Kansas City's allowed to have grabby players. I think that San Francisco's allowed to have grabby players. I think that the Rams and Baltimore are allowed to have grabby players. But when I'm looking at players, I'm looking at prospects on how they would go if they were drafted to the Raiders. And getting grabby in the silver and black is a lot different than if you're getting grabby in SF, in KC, in Baltimore, in the Rams. I think it's a lot different. I think that we get put on a magnifying glass a lot more here. So I'm looking at a guy that's maybe more finesse. But here's the problem. Our scheme is a lot more bump and run. So it's going to be physical. So I do like his game, and I do like Sauce's game a lot, but I do think that other guys or other franchises are allowed a little bit more leeway in certain play styles. And simply the reason why I think that is because that's how their franchise has been for many years. Baltimore is a defensive team. Chicago is a defensive team. The Rams have recently become a defensive team, right? The Niners, defensive team. So when I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a difference, man. Start a Meek at QB, I would just give up. Let's see. Go get Emmanuel Mosley, free agent. That's true, bro. As a Raider, yeah, it's a little bit tougher, man. Let's see. Throw Carr at corner. If we could trade for a first next year, this year, draft Simpson or Paris Johnson, then get DT Tooley, USC in the second round, or third, and in free agency get Justin Simmons from Tennessee. So here's the thing, Joshua. Justin Simmons is not a free agent. He's a Simmons. He's on his 5th-year option, so he's already locked in with the Tennessee Titans for at least this year, and then they could possibly franchise tag him next year. So he's not a free agent. So we don't have that option unless you're saying trade for him, but we don't have that option. Tuli Tuipulotu from USC. I love the dude. Insanely versatile on the inside of the defensive line. I love Tuli a lot. I would love for that. Trenton Simpson from Clemson. I would absolutely love that as well. Paris Johnson. I don't really want to invest into another offensive lineman in the first round. It hasn't worked for us. As many of our first round haven't worked for us, but I see. I'm catching your drift though, Joshua. I understand what you think our needs are and where we should invest our money and capital. I get it. Andy, what position do you think we need most on either offense or defense? I think our number one need is an interior defensive lineman. And the reason why, I understand we have problems at corner, but the more you build that front four, the more you build and stack your front seven, the better your DBs are going to look. The better they're going to look. So I'd much rather have an elite front seven with an average back end, because at the end of the day, those guys only giving the quarterback 2.5 to 3 seconds is going to make fucking the Amik Robertsons of the world look like starting corners. So we'll see. We'll see. Pass on Trenton Simpson. He can't cover. I like Trenton Simpson. That guy is kind of a do-it-all inside the box. He's a great blitzer. He can sometimes play that slot role at a very limited fashion in like a zone. He can rush the passer very well. If you guys want to know who I want to draft at the 7th overall pick, even if we're not able to trade back, the video is on this channel. So if you guys would like to check that out, if this is your first time, go check it out. It's in my videos list. So go check that one out. Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, free agents. Those are both guys. Those are both guys that have a lot of production in the NFL. They're just older. Now, Melvin Ingram is kind of injury prone. Justin Houston, I think, had a monster year this year. So a great D-line immensely helps the DBs. Part of Ramsey's down year is a poor D-line, right? And that's what I think, though, with Ramsey and even Tom Brady, right? The standard and the pedestal that they're put on because of how good they are, a down year is still a top 3 corner in the league for Ramsey instead of being number 1 or number 2. That's a down year for Ramsey. A down year for Brady is throwing for 4,700 passing yards. Like that's what we're talking about a down year is for these guys. So that's why I think that we need to understand what we're dealing with when we're talking about certain players having down years. Let's see. EJ Ramsey's just been getting burnt. I think that a lot of that also has to do with what he was saying, though. If you're allowing a receiver to run fucking triple moves on a route and your fucking D-line is still not getting there, well, that's going to be tough on a DB. It's going to be very tough. If CJ Stroud doesn't declare, how does that shake things up? It shakes it up a lot. And honestly, if that was the case, I think that Derek Carr's trade value skyrockets, right? Because then the Colts wouldn't really know who to get. The Texans will be like, they'll probably want to do anything they can to get that number 1 overall pick. I think that would skyrocket Derek Carr's trade value if he doesn't declare. I think he will, though. There's no way that he doesn't. There's no way that he doesn't declare. Thoughts on Draymond Jones? I like him. 6.5 sacks, 3 technique defensive tackle from the Broncos. He's got 6.5 sacks on a year where I think he's missed 6 or 7 games. He's been extremely productive for the Donkeys this year, and I think that we have a need at that position. And I would love to see if Draymond Jones would be interested in coming to the Raiders. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. All right, get Brady and find a really good DT in free agency and a strong safety. And corner is the big question to me. It's draft or free agency. I wouldn't even mind CB1 next year's draft. This is the thing. This year's draft has a ton of corners. This year's draft has a ton of corners, like a lot. We were talking about Joey Porter Jr. for a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see. Raiders won 10 games and made the playoff with Carr playing great. Questionable. Already a playoff team. If McDaniels didn't like Carr or wanted to rebuild him, why take why take why take job of a playoff team? Um, to say that Derek Carr played great last year was um I think that all of us can agree the reason why we got into the playoffs last year was clearly because of Josh Jacobs. Derek Carr played better last year. Um, great is that's high praise, high praise. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to my guy Wasted in the building. He says I'll be on later. There we go. Graham in the building. Let's see. GA showing off the emojis in the chat, man. Let's see what time. 5 p.m. So 8 p.m. Okay, bad. There you go. There you go. If y'all want to know what my brother Wasted hopping on, there he is. He played admirably. DJ Turner, one of my favorite cornerbacks in this draft. And is it realistic for us to get Brady, Payne, and Bates? It's realistic if that's the only thing you want and nobody else. Like just those three players, cool. Then you won't get anybody else in the offseason in terms of free agents. You just get Brady, Payne, and Bates. It'll be hard. I think that many other teams are going to compete for those guys' services. And I think that realistically, you have to choose one of the three. I said all offseason last year to get the Eagles O-line players, even their backups are very good. Well, Jason Kelsey, unless he retires or unless he re-signs with the Eagles, he will be a free agent. And yeah, I won't say that we can't upgrade on center because we definitely can. Did Carr play in 3 cities? What do you mean? I swear these fans don't know shit. Carr is a bum. You know, I wouldn't say that he's is a bum. I think that his play wasn't worth what we were paying him. That's what it is, honestly. I've been a Raider fan since '76. I am sick of the dysfunction. My new team will be wherever Carr goes. Treasure Coast Raider. Have fun. Have fun, man. Do it. Andre Dillard. 40 years a Raider fan, sick of Davis ruining this franchise in the share. F McDumbass. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Raider Houston. Let's see. Bro, do you really think that Gronk comes with Brady? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that he did an interview today or yesterday. That dude has no plans. He has no plans on coming out of retirement at all. He said that he would come to the Raiders if they offered him Devontae Adams money, and he was bankrupt. He said that that's the way that he comes to the Raiders. That's what Gronk said, that he would come to the Raiders if he went bankrupt and if they offered him Devontae Adams money. So there you go. There you go. What is the possibility we get Brady and build most of the defense up next year? Trade up to get Caleb Williams. That is a dream. The possibility and the rest of that happening, 1% or less than that. Yeah, man. Yeah, facts. Facts, my man. We don't even need Gronk. We don't, but it's more of the, they kind of seem like they're a package deal, man. But listen, you guys, we've been on here hour 15. I may or may not, I don't know yet, drop another video or live today. I love doing these with you guys. But yes, man, we went through, I got off my chest what I wanted to get off my chest when it came to this whole Derek Carr's statement and scenario and all this kind of stuff, man. So I'm glad that it's just about done with now, you guys. And I'm appreciative of the 250 of you guys that came in today and sat down and heard me rant about it. So thank you guys for tuning in, man. But on your way out, if you have not already, hit that like button, hit that little notification bell if you're already subscribed. And if you're not subscribed and you like fucking Raiders content, man, hit that sub button. We already are over 7,000. Let's get to 8,000. That is the next goal. So you know how we end these, man. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm out, you guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Death Star, where our opponent's dreams come to